You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Hey loves, welcome back to the Sensual Genius channel. In this video, I'm going to do a review of Sex Life Season 2. And the cast is starring Sex Life is starring Sarah Shahai as Billy, Adam DeMose as Brad, Mike Vogel as Cooper, Wallace Day as Gigi, Lee Jung Lee as Francesca, and Margaret Odette as Sasha. In episode 1, it starts off where the last one ended. Where the last episode on the first season ended with Billy going to Brad to tell him that she changed her mind about wanting to date. However, she doesn't get the response she was looking for at first. They start kissing, but Brad stops her and tells her, and he tells her it's too late because he got an opportunity to have a relationship with this model who is pregnant with his baby. Billy is caught off guard. She feels stupid because she left her husband to figure things out with him, and Brad told her that this is not the person that she is. The person that she wants to be, this is the person that she wants to be because she told him that she was going to have sex with him and then lied to her husband about it. So they end up having sex. And then it goes to Billy pretty much dealing with the aftermath of breaking her situation up. She gets an apartment. Um Brad has the kids. They kind of like come together and work out like a schedule for the kids. And she gets the kids 3 days a week. So Brad has them 4 days a week. So she's able to work. She's teaching like she wanted to do. She's not like a stay-at-home mom anymore. Um and she's also thinking about writing a book. Her and Sasha are also friends again. They're close friends, and she chooses to move in with her after leaving her husband. And they're going to get a divorce, but she feels guilty, so she hasn't been able to have the life that she has been craving. Sasha is basically telling her that she deserves it, and she needs to ignore the part of her that doesn't she needs to ignore the part of her that doesn't believe that she deserves the life that she wanted. So they go out to this club and they meet this guy named, I think, Majid, and he asks, and they go on a date. He asks Billy on a date, and she is hesitant at first, but Sasha tells her that she should do it. So she ends up telling him, yeah, that they could go on the date. But she ends up going and she has a good time. And they kiss, and they kiss. He goes in for a kiss at the end of the date, but she dodges it. She goes home and cries to Sasha about the situation, and Sasha tells her that she tells Sasha that she wasn't able to kiss him, and Sasha tells her that it's not too late. Like, it's not too late. You could go back because they live in a city, and I feel like the distance between where they were on a date and where they live is not too far. So she like, it's not too late to go back. So she does. Um, my bad. She does go back and she kisses him, and Brad ends up walking in on them while they're kissing. And it turns out that he's an investor to Majid's restaurant. Um in the next clip, Sasha is doing an interview with a TV show. She wrote a book. So she's doing an interview on, I don't know if I think it was a TV show. I don't think it was like the news or nothing like that. And like at the end of the interview, one of her exes, his name is Cam, comes back, and apparently like he was like the love of her life, someone she was willing to sacrifice her career for, which is a big deal because we all know that Sasha is all about her career and being independent. He comes back, he takes her to a place where he proposed to her, and it immediately freaks her out because the last time he proposed, she said yeah, and she was willing to give up her life for him. But this time, she decided that she didn't want to do that. She wanted to do things on her. She didn't want to do things on his term, so she leaves and doesn't allow him to propose because he's about to propose to her. She goes back home and she calls this other dude that she she was dating, I guess she was fooling around with, and I guess she does it to kind of like she does it to kind of like give herself the satisfaction of her being in control of her life. So that episode goes off with her having sex with the dude. And I apologize if my if that was all over the place, but my notes were all over the place. So I obviously did talk to text and I didn't edit it because that junk was. I tried to summarize it as best as I could as I remembered it, but yeah, the way that I wrote it is all over the place. So I had to have used talk to text and didn't edit it. But from this point on, it's better. Yeah. So in episode 2, it starts off with Brad daydreaming about having sex with Billy, but Gigi interrupts his daydream, trying to get him to say his last goodbye to his apartment as he knew it. They're redecorating for her move in. As she's telling him what they're getting rid of, he's having flashbacks of having sex with Billy all over the furniture. Like he literally is thinking about all of the times that him and Billy had sex. Like she like that chair is ugly. I want to get rid of that chair, and he's just sitting there staring at the chair and thinking about knocking Billy down on the chair. And like he ain't really paying her no attention. It's kind of like he kind of is like going through the same thing Billy did in season 1, where she realized that she was living a life that she never wanted to live, and she kind of just went with it because Cooper was a good guy and she didn't want to hurt him. And I kind of feel like Brad is having that same feeling now when it comes to him and Gigi building a life together because she got pregnant. And I do believe that Brad only stayed with Gigi because she got pregnant. But then it goes to Billy teaching her college class, and the topic is sex, specifically breaking up and the consequences of the choices you make in a relationship. And while she's giving this speech, she's having a flashback of her and Majid kissing and Brad walking up on them. Brad pops up at her school at the university and confronts her about being with Majid. In the next scene, Cooper and his boss are discussing the consequences of them being caught having sex in the office. Cooper is nervous about losing his job, and Francesca tries to make him feel better because Francesca is the boss. Then it goes to Sasha meeting with Nick about her career. He is trying to convince her to let him get her to the next level. Billy goes to pick up her kids and runs into Cooper and her mother, who were discussing her. I can't stand her mama because her mama is clearly on Cooper's side and trying to make her feel bad about choosing herself. I just said that. Her mother is on Cooper's side, but Billy puts her in her place. They try to gang up on her to make her feel bad for leaving him. She finally tells her mother how her upbringing played a role in her life. And her mama kind of like doesn't want to hear. She like, girl, whatever. Sasha goes to see Cam at his job and has a flashback of them having sex when they were together in college after getting engaged. She explains to him why she left him and plans not to get back with him, but he convinces her to give him a chance. Cooper defends himself to save his job and it works. Brad pops up on Majid at his restaurant. to tell him he wants to remain an investor, but questions him about his intentions with Billy. He tells Majid not to hurt Billy. Billy calls while they're talking and tells him she can't date him, and he tries to convince her that she deserves to be happy, but it fails. Francesca gets fired, but Cooper refuses to let it go down like that. He marches because Cooper and Francesca has a relationship and they're like sleeping together and they're like having sex in the office and stuff like that, and they got caught. So they fire Francesca and Cooper marches back in the office and defends her. He threatens to quit if they fire her. And he kisses her in front of his bosses, and like it turns her on, like, ooh, you're a man. Billy's mother apologizes to her for how she treated her. Cooper and Francesca have sex at her house. He's stepping into his bad boy stage after Billy leaves him or whatever. Billy, and also this show, they go back and forth between scenes so fast, so that's why I'm reading it like this. Billy's mom opens up to her about why she acts the way she does by telling her about her past. Her mom tells her to go to Majid and give him a chance. Cam and Sasha has drinks and catches up. She gets a phone call from the agent telling her to work on a book he pitched in her favor. Billy goes to Majid and they kiss again and have dinner. Like she goes and she's like, "Okay, I'll give you a chance. You know, I broke up with you because I felt guilty, but everybody is telling me that I need to give you a chance, so I'm gonna give you a chance." And of course they kiss because the name of this TV show is Sex Life, and boy do they have sex. And the sex scenes are the best I have ever seen in my life. Cam walks with Sasha to her apartment and asks her to take a ride with him since they're trying to get to the same place, but she curves him, then invites him in for sex. Billy goes to Majid's place. She's honest with him about her fears about having sex with him after not doing it with anyone other than Cooper for years. But they have sex. Francesca asks Cooper to marry her, but he tells her he needs time. He goes to the Chinese restaurant to get them food and ends up having sex with a strange woman. And I feel like the reason why he did that was to make himself. Cooper has literally fell off the deep end since Billy divorced him, and it's like he's struggling between being this good guy versus exploring his bad side because he perceives Billy divorcing him because he wasn't a bad boy like Brad. He wasn't fun. He wasn't spontaneous. His sex wasn't that good. He had vanilla sex and stuff like that. And I kind of feel like it made him insecure. So he's trying to prove to himself that he has that bad boy, that sex appeal or whatever. So he's making these stupid decisions to prove that to himself, and it's kind of weird, but I also understand. Brad is still fantasizing about Billy and him having sex. He was about to break up with Gigi, but she had headphones in her ear. Like he was about to tell her that he doesn't want to be with her or whatever, but she doesn't hear anything that he says. She has headphones in her ears. And then he got distracted by the ultrasound picture she was looking at and changed his mind because, like I said, the only reason why he's with her is because of the baby. But it ends with him proposing to her and she accepts. Because I feel like Brad came to the realization of, I have a responsibility. I created a child, so I need to be there for that child. And that's exactly what he did. Episode 3 starts with Billy and Majid spending time together and having a lot of sex because let's not forget this TV show is named Sex Life, and I'm telling you they have sex in every episode, and it's all of the characters, not just one or two. Like every single one of them do. And those sex scenes are like porn. Like I'm like, they having sex for real, bro. You not about to tell me that they not really having sex. I swear to God. And I ain't even gonna say it's like porn. It's nothing like porn. Cause I actually liked those sex scenes. I don't like porn because it's performative and fake. You could tell. But it looked like they was having sex for real. They tell each other they love each other. They're settling into their relationship well, and so is Cam and Sasha. Devin and Trina have an argument over sex. Yeah, because Devin and Trina are having issues too. And I kind of feel like they're moving in opposite directions. Um Trina Devin seems to want to be monogamous, but Trina seems to still want to like explore because they had like an open relationship. They would like have sex with other couples and stuff like that. They were like swingers like regularly and stuff. And they're open when it comes to sex. So I feel like Trina is still wanting to do that and Devin kind of just wants to chill, if I'm not mistaken. Or it is either the other way around or they're just not happy with each other. But um Billy gets questioned by her son about her whereabouts, and he tells her Coop that his dad was dating Francesca. Billy goes to confront him about it and finds out that he doesn't work at his old job anymore. Yeah, because he got fired too. After he did that big speech or whatever, they fired him. Both him and Francesca are fired. Or did he quit? I don't remember. Devin goes to meet Cooper at his new office and catches up with him for lunch. But they end up having to reschedule so he can deal with Billy. Trina tries to get a job because she's tired of being a work at home mom. The girl interviewing her laughs at her lack of social media presence and makes her feel old. Sasha appears at her event with Cam and mentions Cam being her boyfriend, and she invites him on the interview with her and gushes over him like I'm in love and all of this stuff. But Sasha has a reputation of being this independent woman that don't need no man. So it's weird for her to be doing that, right? Um yeah, it go like her gushing over him and being like in love, it goes against her brand. She talks about sex and Cam covers her mouth to shut her up. Like he shushes her, like, don't say that. Cause she started to talk about their sex life or whatever, and he shushes her. And she kind of like laughs it off or whatever. Billy meets with Cooper to talk to him about all the things he's been keeping from her. She talks about her concern with him having Fran around their kids, and he basically brushes it off. He tries to play tit for tat by bringing up Brad, but she tells him they aren't together. He's shocked by it, and she tells him it was never about Brad, so he believes it was about him, which makes him feel worse. I kind of feel like Billy feels like Cooper resents Billy for leaving him, and he wanted for Brad to be the reason why they weren't together, but he wasn't. It was just the fact that she wasn't happy. He wanted it to be that Billy was still in love with her ex, but that's not what it was. And so when she finally tells him that her and Brad are not together, he's shocked because he's like, "You broke up our marriage for him," and she was like, "No, I didn't. I broke up our marriage because I wasn't happy. Like this life was boring to me. It wasn't no excitement or nothing like that, and I just didn't want to be with you anymore." So now the energy, the resentment he had towards Brad and her for choosing Brad transfers to him now. So now he resents himself for not being enough for her. Billy feels bad that she hurt him and tells Sasha she's worried about him. But Sasha tells her he isn't her concern. Like, y'all are not together no more. He's a big boy. Let him handle himself. Cooper goes rogue and avoids Fran. He ends up bumping into Trina and they both talk about their bad day. She asks him not to tell Devin she was looking for a job. He uplifts her and she reminds him of the night at that sex party, and they end up making plans to meet up. Cam, Sasha, and Billy goes to a bar for the holiday festivities. Billy sees Majid being intimate with a woman. Like, he didn't kiss her or nothing like that, but they were like, or did he kiss her? I think that's what happened. He did kiss her. Cooper goes home and convinces his nanny to go out so he can have the house to himself. Billy confronts Majid about the woman and he writes it off as just pretending to flirt. So they didn't kiss. He was just like being really like flirty or whatever with her, being really like intimate with her. Brad and Gigi shows up to the restaurant married. Billy starts getting emotional. She pulls it together to speak to them. Brad apologizes to Billy and she leaves. Like, she puts it together so she could talk to them about it. And Gigi kind of like throws it in her face, kind of, and she's literally falling. She's visibly falling apart. Like, she's sad because she thought that it was going to be them, but it wasn't. It seems like something is always getting in the way of Billy and Brad being together. It's almost like they're not supposed to, but they have these intense feelings for each other. Excuse me. So that makes things weird. Gigi stops Billy to ask for advice on being a mom, but it seems like she's just rubbing it in her face. Trina meets Cooper at his house and they try to have sex, but the son walks in and catches them, so they kind of stop. Billy finds Majid in the office getting kissed on the neck by the woman she saw him with. Her son calls her in the middle of her argument with Majid and tells her what Cooper did with Trina. Sasha gets a call from Mick that Cam is killing her brand because of the way that she acts when she's with him. Like, her brand is being an independent woman, single or whatever, but she's in a relationship now, and her publicist, I think he is, feels like, or manager, one of the two, thinks that Cam is killing her brand. Billy goes to check on her son and talks to Cooper, who expresses that he's lost and empty and is ruining his life. He tells her he misses her and she apologizes for hurting him and suggests counseling again. He wants to get back together but gets mad when he finds out she's dating someone else and he kicks her out. The episode ends with Gigi telling Brad she doesn't want him to see Billy ever again after having sex with him, because they're having sex, but Brad is not in it. And Gigi believes that the reason why he's not, because he is thinking about Billy as usual. It's all about her. So he tells her that he doesn't want her to see her no more, which I understand. In episode 4, my bad, Cooper is struggling with his identity between being a good guy and being disguised, or being a bad guy. Being disguised as a guy who does these irresponsible things like having sex with random women. Billy goes back and forth about her feelings for Brad and ends up giving Majid a second chance after the situation. After he explains to her the situation about the lady, and I think the lady was like an investor or whatever, and one of his payments was having sex with her. So that's why they were so like intimate and close to each other, because they have sex as payment for his restaurant. Sasha chooses her career over Cam after having her reputation questioned by the media after he shushed her on the red carpet. Billy wrestles with his feelings. Brad wrestles with his feelings for Billy after going through a tough time and wanting to see her, but he ends up realizing he needs to be present for his wife and son. In episode 5, god dang it, Mooney. In episode 5, Billy and Cooper finalizes their divorce. Cooper is struggling, so he goes partying with Devin all day and ends up crashing his car. Billy finally introduces her kids to Majid and runs into Brad at the park. She finds out Brad and Gigi aren't together anymore, but doesn't want to dwell on it. Instead, she enjoys the day with Majid and her kids. Her kids love Majid. Sasha tries to move on with her life after breaking up with Cam. She's partying and having sex with everyone, but realizes that something is missing. Then she bumps into Cam at a restaurant and decides to open up to him about how she's feeling. And it ends with the episode ends with them having sex. At this point, I'm summarizing the episode because I had paragraphs for it because it was too much like going back and forth between characters or whatever. So I just summarized what happens to everybody in each episode. Okay, because it was a lot. In episode 6, after the accident, Cooper decides to turn his life around. He goes to an AA meeting and decides to ask Emily to be his girlfriend. And Emily is a girl from his past that he I don't know if they were together in a relationship or whatever, but I know they had a thing, and but they never got to have a relationship, or they never got to see how things would work out with them. And Emily is like a safe choice for him. Like, she represents his good boy side, so he decides to ask her to be his girlfriend. He also told Billy he was going to marry Emily. Billy confronts Majid about avoiding seeing her kids again since he seemed to be spooked after the accident. Oh yeah. Um Majid uh Majid was supposed to hang out with Billy's oldest son, and she allowed them to hang out together by themselves, but something happened. He ended up having to go. They were supposed to go to a baseball game or something like that, but something happened and they ended up he ended up having to stop by his restaurant, and the little boy um I guess kept getting in his way or whatever, and he yells at him because he's stressed out. And he yells at him, so the little boy runs out of the restaurant. He just like goes somewhere. He was missing. And that was something that he couldn't come back from. Like, after that, Billy was done with him because you put my child in danger. Something could have happened, and she kind of just like didn't want anything to do with him no more, and rightfully so. And uh Brad ends up coming while her and Majid, I think, are arguing or whatever. And Brad is like, and they were asking, he was asking her like, what's one of his favorite places around here? So he's probably at one of his favorite places, and they was like the park. So her and Brad go to the park and they look for him and they find him, and that ends up kind of like bringing her and Brad together in a way. He tells Billy he wants to be in the kid's life and ask her, oh, this, okay, this is when it happened. Okay. Majid, she confronts Majid about avoiding seeing her kids again since he seems to be spooked after the accident. He tells Billy he wants to be in her kid's life and asks her if he could take Hudson to a baseball game. She allows him, but they never make it to the game because he had a restaurant emergency. He took Hudson with him and ends up losing him. He calls Billy to tell her what happens. Cooper and Brad show up to help her look for him, and Brad helped her find him at the park. Billy breaks up with Majid and focuses on her career, getting her doctorate and writing a book. Cooper and her relationship gets better, like they're better co-parents and they have a better relationship with each other. He no longer hates her for breaking their family up or whatever, and he's back to himself. Sasha decides to do with Cam. Sasha decides to go with Cam to Singapore after going back and forth about it. They end up getting married because she had went to her grandma for advice, and her grandma basically was telling her to stick to her guns, like don't ever choose a man over her career. But she's like, I've done this for so long. The first time I had the option to do whatever, I chose him and it didn't work out and I had to come back. But I've been this independent woman for all of these years. And while it's cool and I have a good career, I'm not happy. It's something is missing, and that something is Cam. So she decides to go against what her grandma told her and to give him a chance. And they end up getting married, and she goes with him to Singapore. Billy and Brad also end up getting married and having a baby together, ending the season. It kind of seems like this is the end of the series, but I hope not, because it's a really good show. I feel like this show is so like raw with talking about things that are not talked about a lot in the show. Like for instance, Billy being a woman who had the perfect life, but she wasn't happy. She wasn't happy. Like her marriage, Brad was a good guy. She had beautiful children. She was, a stay-at-home mom or whatever, but it was a lot missing. Like her sex life wasn't what she wanted it to be. There wasn't like a spark between her and Brad. It just felt mundane and like they were just going through the motions, and she wanted something different. And I love that they showed her doing that, and like there are consequences to doing it, the consequences of doing that, but also the rewards to doing that, because I feel like oftentimes women will stay in relationships um just because they're dedicated to their marriage, and they feel guilty about choosing themselves when they're not happy. And I also think that a lot of the times people feel like when you're with a good person, or somebody that does everything right, or somebody that gives you everything that you want, or because they're a good person, that means that you should never have any complaints. This person gives you everything that you want, so you should stay with them. This is the perfect person for you. But a lot of times, a person who gives you everything that you want, while they're good in that situation, is a good, healthy environment, they don't challenge you. Being with a good person is not the only thing you need when it comes to relationships. You need to be with somebody that challenges you. A lot of the time, somebody that gives you everything that you want doesn't challenge you. They don't really help you to become a better person. They just a good person in a relationship with you. So being a good person in a relationship to me is not enough. You should be a good person, period. But I feel like there needs to be certain elements, unless you're somebody who don't care about changing and evolving and becoming a better person. I guess that don't matter. But to somebody like me, a person who would give me everything in a relationship, like we cool, we good, we don't have no confrontations like that or whatever. And I'm not saying that I want to have confrontations, I want to argue, because I don't want that. But I want somebody who's going to push me to be a better me, not somebody to be complacent with and we're happy and it's peaceful, so we're gonna stay in a situation even though we're not happy, because she wasn't happy. Because sometimes in them situations you don't be happy because you're not being fulfilled, you're just a placeholder in somebody's life, and vice versa. And I feel like people feel like cheating, abuse, and things like that are the only reasons why you should break up with a person, but I don't think so. Sometimes you're not compatible with a person. Sometimes a person doesn't push you to be a better you. They give you, like, they literally give you everything that you want. And while a lot of people may think that that's a good thing, it's not, because it doesn't teach you anything. Like, it really doesn't. I do feel like a person you're in a relationship with should do the things that you want them to do, but I also think that they should be able to tell you no about certain things. They should be able to challenge you on certain things. You know what I mean? But being with a person that don't rock the boat at all, like you don't challenge me, you don't help me grow, you just hand me everything that I want. That's not that's not conducive to my growth. So yeah, other people may think different, but like, let me know what y'all think about that. Let me know if y'all think that Billy made the wrong decision when she broke up, when she divorced Cooper, and was her feelings valid? Was her feeling like the spark wasn't there, and her life was mundane and boring, and she wasn't being herself. She kind of got lost and being a wife and a mother, that's all she was doing. She wanted to be a writer, she wanted to be a teacher, but she sacrificed all of that to be a wife and a mother. Do y'all think that women in those situations, is that wrong for them to have those desires? Should they just settle into their marriage and be that wife and that mother, or should they want more for themselves? And I know when it comes to men and women, we have different perspectives, because I feel like men think that if I'm doing everything for you, then you shouldn't have no complaints, you should be happy. There should be no you're not happy or whatever. How could you not be happy? You're getting everything. Life ain't all about getting everything. Life is about becoming a better person. If you're not somebody that makes me that, we can't be together. I don't want to be with nobody who I could just go through life with, who just want to sit in a relationship and seem happy and seem like we got a good marriage or whatever, but it's not really. Because when you start digging deep down and analyzing and seeing different things that doesn't align with what we're perceiving, or what we're projecting, what we're showing this relationship is, then it gets ugly. Look what happened when they got a divorce. Cooper showed exactly how nasty of a person he could be. She made one mistake. She made a decision that for herself, one decision for herself, and yeah, maybe it wasn't the best in his eyes because he wanted his family, but the way that he reacted to that would have scared me, and it would have made me feel like, yeah, I made the right decision, because he just flew off the handle. Somebody like that was a ticking time bomb anyway. Their relationship was going to end anyway. As soon as she made a mistake that he didn't like, he would have flew off the handle. So like, yeah, let me know what y'all think about that. I give this show a 9.5 out of 10. I think that Sex Life is an amazing show. I love the themes and that they explore, the things that they talk about, because it's realistic and it shows a different side of life, and not just what we're expected to do and how we're expected to behave to have these things or whatever. Like, I thought it was a good show. I do think that y'all should check it out. But yeah, thank you for watching this review. If you've seen Sex Life, let me know what you think about it. If you go to watch it after you see this video, come back and let me know what you think. Do you think Billy was wrong? Did you feel sorry for Cooper? Do you think Billy and Brad was meant to be? Are you happy for Sasha and Cam? Do you think this is the end of the series? I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Before you go, check out my website at srgraham.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.